Hey everybody, welcome to Drive-Thru Review 592. Today we're going to take a look at Werewords. This is a new game coming out from Bezier Games, and as the title of the game might imply, this has a little bit of werewolf in it. Well, it has a lot of werewolf in it. So this is an app-driven game, just like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, but it's a lot more like a game called Insider, which I haven't reviewed, but I have played. But this is different than Insider. What happens is, one player will be the mayor. They will know the word will be generated through some mechanisms in an app, and then they will be able to only answer questions, yes or no, maybe you're kind of close, but they have these chips that they can respond to. So they can't give any other kind of hidden clues or weird body language type of things. They just have to give a chip, yes, no, whatever. And the other players are trying to guess the word within a given timer, but there's a werewolf who also knows the word and is trying to steer everybody in the wrong direction so they don't guess the word, through their own question asking. Now they're trying to do so in such a way that they don't get caught and everybody knows that they're the werewolf. Now you can also have a seer in play, which is a villager, or good guy if you've not played Ultimate Werewolf, and they also know the word, but this is tricky. They can't be too obvious that they know the word, because if players get the word too quickly and they make it really obvious that they were also the one that knew the word, then the werewolf will have a chance to then accuse that person of being the seer, and then the werewolf will automatically win. There's also an interesting variation which hasn't come up in any games that I've played yet, but I'll go ahead and review it anyway, because the mayor could also be their werewolf. And that adds a very interesting dynamic to the game. I have played games where that seems like it's come up because, the quality of questions, the quality of answers, and that kind of thing, you're like, well, is the mayor the werewolf because we didn't get it and wow, we were really off, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'll explain kind of how everything works, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay, here is everything you get in the box, and also the box, which I found kind of adds as a nice little tray for the mayor. You can see the mayor has these yes/no tokens here. They get some of these maybe tokens. They have a correct token to let them know they've guessed the word, and they get a so close token that you can kind of move around if they start to get close. So you're going to give that to whoever the mayor is, and of course you're going to deal out these cards here, which are the same as kind of like One Night Ultimate Werewolf. These kind of nice tiles. You have one mayor, some villagers, definitely a werewolf, probably a seer, beholder, minion, and so on. And you also need a phone or some kind of app thing. iOS or Android will work. And you can see you can select the roles just like One Night Ultimate Werewolf. You can change the difficulty of the words. So I'll just put on easy words. And we can do, let's just walk through it here. So you can play.
Close your eyes.
You can tell everybody to close their eyes.
Wake up and tap your secret roll.
So the mayor's going to look at one card that's in the center. And let's just for fun say they were the villager to keep things simple for the example.
Mayor, choose a magic word.
So this is going to give you two words to pick from, and this is going to change up based on what was in the middle. So if the werewolf was in the middle, it'll kind of change the difficulty, or if the seer was. Let's just do shark.
Mayor, here is your magic word.
So it gives you the magic word there just so you can confirm.
Mayor, close your eyes.
Mayor's going to close their eyes.
Wake up and view the magic word.
So the seer will know the magic word, like I said. They don't want to be obvious about it though.
Seer, close your eyes.
Now the werewolf.
Wake up and view the magic word.
So they'll view the magic word. They'll get a look at it. They're going to try to divert all the players from the magic word.
Werewolf, close your eyes. Everyone,
wake up.
You now have 4 minutes to figure out the magic word.
Alrighty. So this is going to go, blah, blah, blah. If you don't guess it, I'm just going to stop it. Then everybody will have a chance to vote who the werewolf is. The mayor can participate in that discussion. Maybe they feel that Billy was really trying to throw people off. They can interject that. Maybe the mayor was the werewolf. People can point the finger at the werewolf. That's very similar. Gives you, I think, a minute in that case. Now, if you do guess it, then the werewolf will get a chance to point at the seer so they can kind of recover their victory. Now there's a couple other roles to kind of mix things up. Now the beholder, they will know who the seer is, but they won't know the word. So they can try to maybe, it's almost like a tanner in a way, not really. They try to get the werewolf maybe to point at them, or at least divert from the attention of the seer if they can. And that'll probably come up more in the discussion phase at the end of the round. And the minion, in a similar way, they act as if they are on the werewolf team. Now they know who the werewolves are, but they don't know the word. But if they do get picked, then the werewolf team will still lose. But that's pretty much it. It's kind of a slightly compact, I would say more on the rails and somewhat logical game of One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Okay, so that is Werewords. Now there's obviously two things you can compare this to. You can compare it to One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and you can compare it to Insider. Now I like this better than Insider. There's just a lot more dynamics going on. It's a little bit more controlled. The communication is just a little bit cleaner with just, passing the chip tokens out. You've got the maybe and the so close and that kind of stuff, which is kind of fun to play around with. You've got the ability for the mayor to actually be the werewolf, which I said hasn't actually happened, but I've seen the potential for that to happen definitely, influence games and influence the discussion. And I like it because one thing about One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and especially One Night Ultimate Alien, which I'll review in a bit, it can get kind of crazy and chaotic, and it's almost like too much for folks, especially with Alien. And just short review of Alien, I say if you're not a fan of One Night Ultimate Werewolf, One Night Ultimate Alien will not sway you in that direction. But in this case, if you weren't a fan of One Night Ultimate Werewolf, or even maybe like Resistance and other social deduction games, this one might sway you onto your side because it's a little bit more controlled. You can have just as much fun just doing the kind of the 20 question stuff during the course of the game. And then the whole like lying and bluffing thing, that is certainly prevalent, and it's going to be more or less prevalent based on the group, but you can just have just as much fun doing kind of the insider part of the game with that, and then just the kind of layers that extra gloss of dimension on top of it with all the werewolf stuff. So I would say certainly give this one a look and certainly give it a try, even if you're not a fan of this genre, but you're probably not watching this video. But hopefully if there's somebody out there that's not a big fan of this series of games or this style of game, give this one a look. I think a lot of folks will be swayed over by this game. It's going to have a little bit more, I would say, broad appeal, in my opinion, than some of the others. It's not as extreme in the social deduction aspect. It's got a good layer of social deduction. I like how it works. I think if you're a fan of social deduction, you'll still get a good kick out of this because you can really employ all of those different kind of crafty, misdirection and techniques that you've learned. And it gives you kind of a new set of lies. That's one of the things that my main gamer group has liked about Ultimate Werewolf and then Vampire and then Alien. It just gives you kind of a new set of parameters to really play with and little toys to tinker with in terms of the stories that you make up about who you are or aren't, usually aren't. So this is going to be good for that crowd as well. Definitely take a look at it. There's actually quite a lot in here, with kind of the variable difficulty, but in terms of what the mayor, what team they're actually going to be on or what team they could be on. That's really cool. So I definitely highly recommend Werewords. Definitely take a look at this one. Thanks.